What if the very act you call desire was never only desire, but the secret of creation itself? What if the energy that binds you to illusion was also the same power that could set you free? The ancients knew this truth, that Sringara, when sanctified, becomes Yajña, the sacred fire of creation. Kāmo Vai Prajāpatiḥ. Desire itself was the creator. Desire is not evil, it is divine potential. But when fire burns without offering, it consumes. When offered with reverence, it illumines. In the beginning, there was oneness, silent, infinite. That one desired to know itself, and from that desire was born duality, Shiva and Shakti, consciousness and energy. Their embrace gave birth to worlds, elements, and life itself. The one divine hides in all beings, pervading as their inner self. So the first act of creation was Sringara, the sacred merging of consciousness and energy. Every union that follows is but a reflection of that cosmic truth. In Sanatana Dharma, marriage, Vivāha Saṃskāra, is not a social arrangement. It is a ritual of union, where two beings agree to live as one current of life force. Agni, the sacred fire, becomes the witness, transforming their human love into divine resonance. Rig Veda says as, "I go with you as a friend. Together we shall walk the path of Dharma." Each step in Saptapadi activates a vow to share food, strength, wealth, joy, and spiritual purpose. The circling around Agni represents the rotation of the soul around Dharma, and the merging of their prana, life energies, into one harmonious current. Grihya Sutra says, "Your soul now resides in me, my soul in you." In Sanatana Dharma, marriage is not a fancy celebration. It is a ritual to combine two souls to live life as one. Marriage is the sacred permission for Sringara, not as pleasure, but as Yajña. Through sacred vows and awareness, it transforms a physical act into a path of evolution. Without this sanctification, desire remains only chemistry. With it, it becomes energy exchange aligned with the cosmos. This is why marriage is not about ownership. It is about synchronization of energies, so both may rise together, as Shiva and Shakti do eternally. When two beings unite with awareness, the act becomes Yajña, a sacred offering of their energy back to the source. The Garuḍa Purāṇa calls such regulated Śṛṅgāra Dharma Sangama, union aligned with truth, purity, and selflessness. Garuḍa Purāṇa says, sexual union performed in righteousness, for creation and harmony, is Dharma itself. In this view, Sringara is divine only when it uplifts, when it nourishes life, preserves fidelity, and deepens love. Scripture does not reject Sringara or desires. It teaches how to engage in it with awareness and when to refrain to preserve balance. Classical Ayurvedic and Dharmic texts do not frame this as superstition, but as observation. They describe the moon as governing manas, rasa, and ojas, the subtle fluids and vitality of the body. In Vedic vision, the body is an altar, and Maithuna is a sacred offering. When performed in harmony with lunar rhythm and purity of intent, the act uplifts consciousness, turning pleasure into prayer. Garuḍa Purāṇa says as union at improper times diminishes life and intellect. On intense lunar transitions such as Ashtami, Chaturdashi, Amavasya, and Purnima, these forces are naturally unstable. In Ayurveda, menstruation is a cleansing process, the downward flow of apana vayu, eliminating energy. Interfering with this process disturbs both partners' energy, draining the man's ojas and the woman's vitality. Charaka Samhita says as union during the menstrual flow increases bodily impurities and disorders. The 8th lunar day marks the midpoint between new and full moon, a phase of energetic turbulence. According to Ayurvedic and yogic observation, the mind and body are most unstable on the 8th day. Metabolism fluctuates, emotional sensitivity rises, and prana currents shift between Ida and Pingala Nadi. Union on this day, the sages said, disturbs the manas, mind, and weakens ojas, vital essence. Hence, the Ashtami was advised for fasting, mantra, and rest, not indulgence. Garuḍa Purāṇa says as union on the 8th day depletes vital strength. The 14th day, the day of overcharge. The 14th day, just before full or new moon, is the most energetically charged point of the lunar cycle. The subtle body, Sukshma Sharira, experiences agitation, as fluids, rasa dhatu, and hormonal systems are at their peak oscillation. Ayurveda calls this the day of Vata-Pitta imbalance, and thus restraint, brahmacharya, on this day preserves equilibrium. The mind easily shifts to excitement, illusion, and loss of focus. Yajña Smriti says as, on the 14th or full moon day, union is inauspicious. Amavasya, the night of darkness. On Amavasya, the moon's light, the symbol of mind and emotion, disappears. It is a night of tamas, heaviness, confusion, and subtle imbalance. Ancient rishis observed that on this night, the body's ojas, life essence, is at its lowest and subtle entities, bhutas, are most active. Union on Amavasya was said to invite adharmic energy and loss of vitality. Garuḍa Purāṇa say as, union on the new moon connects one's energy to departed or restless spirits. Purnima, the night of overflow. On Purnima, the moonlight floods the body and psyche. It enhances rasa dhatu, bodily fluids, and manas, emotional receptivity. Too much outward expression on this day, whether eating, drinking, or union, was believed to overstimulate the senses and drain ojas through excess. Hence, Purnima was meant for meditation, mantra, or silence, channeling that overflow upward, not outward. Manu Smriti and Parashara Smriti, union on the full moon, diminishes clarity of mind and inner light. Festival days and vows, protecting sacred vibration. The rishis also forbade union on vrata, upavasa, and yajña days, not as repression, but as energetic hygiene. During such days, one's aura and mind are in sattva, high vibration. Physical indulgence grounds that energy back to the body. Manusmriti says as, during times of vow, sacrifice, or worship, union is forbidden. Days of fasting, prayer, and puja were kept celibate so that energy, ogas, would rise to the crown, fueling meditation, mantra, and intuition. The rishis saw the human body as a temple of prana, with two poles, creation and consciousness. When these forces meet in awareness, it becomes yajña. When they meet in ignorance, it becomes karma. Every lunar cycle, nature amplifies or withdraws energy. By aligning with those rhythms, ancient seekers lived in harmony with body, cosmos, and consciousness. So the law was not don't, it was know when, because rhythm is the secret of divinity. When you master time, even desire becomes devotion. That is the hidden science behind Dharma. Because Sringara is not merely pleasure, it is a science of prana exchange. When the two polar energies merge in balance, new life, vitality, and peace arise. When done in ignorance, it drains vitality and binds the soul. So the rishis taught discipline not to suppress pleasure, but to protect energy, to make desire sacred. When awareness departs, desire becomes intoxication. The same flame that can warm the heart begins to burn the soul. Even the mighty fall when they mistake possession for love. Ravana, a scholar, a devotee of Shiva, was not slain by Rama's arrow, but by the fire of ungoverned lust. The Kauravas perished not in battle, but in their insult to the divine feminine within Draupadi. Garuḍa Purāṇa says, "He who approaches another spouse falls to hellish realms." Desire itself is sacred, but when turned outward without restraint, it creates waves of karma that pull the soul deeper into the ocean of rebirth. In Sringara, more than the body touches, it is a communion of prana, emotion, and thought. Each union imprints its vibration upon both souls. Every partner leaves a subtle residue of energy, joy, pain, or attachment. When love is pure, that residue becomes light. When it is selfish, it becomes shadow. When love becomes offering, it frees you. When pleasure becomes worship, it purifies you. When man and woman see God in each other, that is Śṛṅgāra as Yajña, the union that ends all separation. He who approaches women before marriage, another spouse, falls to hellish realms.
Project Sanatana also offers authentic Nepali Rudraksha, sacred Rudraksha combinations, and puja idols to enhance your spiritual journey. Visit projectsanatana.com today and explore our spiritual products.
Hey!